Welcome everyone to Travel Tech Emea. We are very happy to have today with us Rudy Evento from RM Academy, Claudio Dimension for New Planet, Francine Haywood for North Inside, James Bishop for SignMinder, Enzo Aita from Funnel Channel TV and Hypergas, and Jennifer Nagy from Libra. So everybody, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Here we have a few of them already join us. As Claudio and James. They're not new on Travel Tech. For the people that's the first time you're joining us, this is the fourth event that we did globally. We started this year with Travel Tech Brazil, Portugal. We did Travel Tech Asia Pacific. We did Travel Tech Latin America and Spanish speakers and Spain. And we're finishing this year with Travel Tech Emea. So we are very glad to have created such great event and count with all the support for all the speakers, for all the people that make this coming true. I would like to say a big thank you for all the sponsors, Ideas, Libra, HS Latin, there's a lot of them, so give them time. Ask Sweet Chatbox, Tag Express, Book Online Now, Funnel TV, Travel Daily Digital, and Revenue Hub. So thank you everyone. Travel Tech has been created as we found out that over the worldwide, the issues that hoteliers can have on China or in Australia or in Spain or Singapore or in Africa, North America, Central America are always the same. So we create this to start promoting knowledge and have the principal players on the market all over the world join us and giving you tips and hints in how we can pass through this bad times. Not also that, but also looking for the future. One thing that's very important, in 2021, next year, Travel Tech, we're going to have 5 Travel Tech forums. We're going to start next year in March with the US and Canada guys and ladies, and then we're going to move for Travel Tech Brazil, Portugal, then Travel Tech Asia Pacific, Travel Tech Latin speakers in Spain, and Travel Tech Emea to finish the year, the 2021. But the good thing, we're moving to make the first global online fair for hoteliers. So keep in tune. Follow us on LinkedIn. You're going to have all the news after Travel Tech Emea. We're going to start setting up all we're going to do during the next 3 months with the special events, and also concerning what we're going to do in 2021 that will help hoteliers to have one-to-one presentations for different companies all over the world. So we don't need to spend money on traveling, you don't need to spend money on get airplanes. We know that after this pandemic stuff, everybody, doesn't matter each company, we are touched, not only hotels, everyone that work with you guys. So be welcome and follow us. So thank you very much for everybody. Jennifer Nagy, please, you have your 3 minutes, please present yourself and explain the big and awesome and understanding professional you are.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, Vinny. I appreciate it. My name is Jennifer Nagy, and I'm the president of JLNPR, and we're a company, a PR and marketing company that specializes 100% in travel technology, and more specifically, hospitality technology. I've been working in the industry for more than 15 years, and I'm here today representing Libra, which is an RMS that is basically innovating and bringing in the future of revenue management. As we all know, the industry has been severely impacted by the fact that RMS are now struggling to be able to provide accurate pricing because of the fact that historical data is no longer a factor that will actually help you get accurate rates. So at this point, Libra has focused their attention on different types of data, like future demand data. And so one of the most exciting things about that is no matter how the demand changes based on the pandemic, their RMS will still be able to get you the most accurate rate. And now with the integration of future flight search data, then hotels are now able to find out very specific detailed information about who's coming, where they're coming from, the dates, and are able to set their rates more accordingly.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Welcome.
Thanks for
So
having
right
me.
now I'm gonna, sorry?
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
Welcome.
it.
Welcome. So right now let's go to my friend Enzo Aita from Funnel TV. He's doing one of the biggest events, also starting on the 1st of December. So don't lose it. And check out and follow Funnel TV, please, on LinkedIn. You're gonna see, if you're a hotelier, don't lose it. It's gonna be outstanding. Enzo, it's your time. Go ahead, 3 minutes, man.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. And from my studio here, live streaming studio of Funnel TV, the Travel Tech channel, I'm here today to represent actually two companies. The first one is Funnel TV, which is also the media partner of Travel Tech, and thanks Vinicius to engage me in this amazing organization. We are really happy to support your initiative. As you know, we all have this common goal to create buzz and more culture around technology adoption. So that's why I'm here, and I will do my best to support you, man. So congrats. On the other hand, I'm also the global head of business development for a young organization, which is Hyperguest. It's a startup based in Tel Aviv, Israel, and we provide, this is a very, let's say, revolutionary marketplace, which help hotels and accommodation provider in general. We work with hotels and accommodation like vacation rental to connect directly with the travel provider. And when I say travel provider, I mean all kind of last mile travel agent, consortia, tour operator, DMC, meta search, and we try to create this direct connectivity between seller and buyer. In this way, we reduce the layer of middleman and trying to provide a very fast connectivity and a very low and sustainable distribution cost. Our marketplace is free to access. It's totally flexible. Hotels can personalize the way they like to distribute their rooms. They set up the way they want to pay commission from 10%. Normally, this is the average cost. And we will be more than happy to welcome more hotels on board. So if you're watching this event right now, you run an hotel, get in touch with me on LinkedIn very easily, and we can set up a call to get to know each other. Thanks for joining.
Awesome.
And let's carry on the events now.
Just one thing for all the participants, please, if you want to get in touch or connected with any of the participants that are participating on the speakers, you can do that going to traveltech.space. There you're going to see the LinkedIn of each one of the speakers and also the website of each one of the companies that join Travel Tech for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So just before I give the word to Jennifer to start presenting our individual speakers, please, on the right side of your screen, if you're based on your computer, you're gonna see questions. Please, from the first beginning, when we start the first round of questions and the second round, after that, we're gonna have 25 minutes to interact with our speakers. So please, set up your questions there, set up all the questions that you can have concerning online distributions that we're gonna manage all the questions at the end of this session. Okay, guys, ladies, welcome to Travel Tech Emea, and let's do the show. Jennifer, your start, it's all yours. Go ahead. Thank you.
All right, great. So myself and Enzo are going to give you guys an opportunity to introduce yourselves and your companies. So first, we're going to start with Francine Haywood, who is the Regional Sales Manager for EMEA at OTA Insight.
Thanks, Jennifer. So yes, my name's Francine Haywood, Regional Sales Manager with OTA Insight, and I'm responsible for our business and our growth in Southern and Eastern Europe. For those of you that don't know us, we provide technology that helps hoteliers to make smarter revenue and distribution decisions. We've basically got 4 solutions. You probably know us best for Rate Insight, which is our rate shopping solution, and it enables you to compare and quickly see how your rates stack up against your competitors. We've got Revenue Insight, which is our leading BI tool, and that provides a consolidated and dynamic view of your PMS data, not only for use by revenue managers, but also for departments like sales and marketing. Parity Insight, although parity is not as much of a challenge these days, is an end-to-end solution for groups and chains to track their parity performance. And then last but not least is Market Insight, and that's the latest solution that we've just launched, and it's the industry's first predictive marketing or market demand intelligence solution. So we're looking at a little bit like Jennifer talked about, that intent to travel. What are people looking to do so that hoteliers can identify new revenue opportunities? I've personally worked in hospitality tech for about 8 years now. Prior to OTA Insight, I co-founded a guest feedback and reputation management company. Outside of work, passionate about films and have produced a feature-length documentary called Sons of Cuba, and I also farm sheep. So that's a little bit about me. Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Right.
Thank you.
I think now is the turn of Rudy Azevedo. Did I correctly pronounce your name, Rudy?
Actually, nobody pronounced it well. Rudy, it's not a very normal name, even here in Europe. So I would say like Rudy, but that's okay, Enzo. That's fine.
Azevedo.
No worries. Azevedo, yeah, no worries. So my name is Rudy. I've been working for the hotel industry in the last 15 years in the main brands like IHG, Marriott, leading hotels of the world, Relais Chateau, Salmilia, Design Hotels, etc. Always in sales and revenue management departments. I also teach revenue management at the university here in Porto, in Portugal, and I own my own business, which is Revenue Management Academy. It's the first and only revenue management academy in Portugal. We teach mainly revenue and sales, and by the other hand, we do revenue management consultancy to our clients. We have this new product, which is all-in-one, which is RMS, Rate Shopper, and the revenue management consultant 24 hours per day. And this is what we do to help our customers to improve their profits, basically. And thank you very much for the invite, Vinicius.
Welcome on board.
Perfect. Next, we have James Bishop, the Senior Director, Global Demand Partnerships at SiteMinder.
Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone, and thanks, Vinny, Enzo, and everyone for getting me along here again. So as I say, I work for SiteMinder. So SiteMinder is a global guest acquisition platform. So there's multiple, I guess, products within that description, but I guess SiteMinder is mainly known as a channel manager, where we're distributing rates and inventory to partners who are selling your rooms and include in that Hyperguest as one of our partners. But in total, we have close to 1,000 partners. We integrate with over 300 different PMSs, and then beyond the distribution and channel management, we provide direct booking tools, GDS. We have the ability to obviously use a content management system to manage your own website, and obviously some rate shop or rate intelligence tools, if you like, included within that. So we're currently, about 35,000 customers worldwide, mainly across Europe, Australia, of course, where we started, Asia, and the US and Latin America. And not much else. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you, James. What
Welcome,
about you,
James.
Claudio, CEO of Yelp Planet? We live close in the same city, in Barcelona. Claudio, how are you? Please introduce yourself.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, so, thanks, Vinicius, for having me. It's great to participate in this discussion. Obviously.
Welcome, man.
For
You're
having me
part
the
of
second
Travel
time.
Leader already, Claudio.
Yeah, for having me the second time, apparently. So I must have not done everything wrong the last time. So yeah, my name is Claudio.
No.
And I'm CEO at Yelp Planet. Yelp Planet is a channel and revenue management company. We have both solutions that we're putting together under one whole. On one hand, we are a provider for hotels and vacation rentals. Now, our channel manager is on the market since a bit over 10 years by now, and we would say it's one of the most flexible distribution solutions that there is in the market. We can try to accommodate whatever sales strategy a hotel wants to have. We enable, in a nutshell, we enable properties to sell online, leveraging more than 450 integrations, PMSs, OTAs, GDSs, CRSs, pretty much whatever you want to have. Our RMS, the Price Optimizer, is a fully automated revenue management system. Here, it is a unique solution that combines the distribution that we know very well from the channel management part with a yield and revenue management solution into one integrated solution. Prices are updated in almost real time. So whenever a reservation comes in, we recalculate and we redistribute prices and put them right in front of where they actually matter. That is at the customers where they can see it. We have currently more than 4,500 hotels and vacation rental companies using our solutions, covering that in over 80 countries. Now, personally, I would call myself a true European. I'm originally from Switzerland, but I've worked across many European countries. I've lived in Poland for the last 7 years, and as Andrew just mentioned, I've moved to Spain just in time to be locked down here last year.
So you couldn't enjoy Barcelona at the end. So beautiful city.
Not tapas.
I have a very beautiful flat. I can tell you, I don't know about the city that much. No, I'm joking. I know the city, obviously.
I used to live there for 8 years, so I can tell you it's an outstanding city to live and to spread
I'll
time.
promise you, Claudio. I'll promise you, I'll take you around sometime. Don't worry.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'll do the same. Next time I'm in Europe, I take you to a roll for a beer's roll there. So everybody, welcome. So guys, we're going to start with the first round of questions. For all the people that is watching us right now, please don't forget to set your questions as I told you before. Like this at the end, we can go through all of them and give you the chance to interact with such great panel that we have today on the line distribution. So we're going to start. Go ahead. I don't know who is and I
think it's me.
Here. I think it's Enzo. So Enzo.
Yeah, I was just before making the question, I was looking at there's already a lot of buzz on LinkedIn, man. Look at that. Everybody's sharing our picture already.
Yeah. That's good news.
Yeah, you're fast. Travel tech teams really.
Great job, guys. Great job. Right. So first question is going to be for my friend Claudio in Barcelona in lockdown. And the question is actually a little bit delicate. It's very revenue oriented. And it's a very hot topics, a lot of buzz discussion, especially during these pandemic times where the demand is low or near to zero. So with lower demand throughout all the market segments, Claudio, rates come under increasing pressure. So from your point of view, should hotel reduce the rates or keep the rates as they were last year? What's your thoughts on that?
So, look, without any doubt, I mean, prices are a very sensible element that customers will take into account when selecting a hotel or when try to make a booking for either a hotel room or a vacation rental. Nevertheless, I mean, to give you the short answer up front, in our opinion, dropping rates in a very low demand period of time will just not lead to the results that you're expecting. That has a couple of reasons, obviously. One of the first one is that let me backtrack there. Like in theory, when you have a lower price, you should see a higher demand, and that's because we have more travelers that are both willing and able to travel at that lower price. Now, if we are in a pandemic situation where people either cannot travel because they're locked down, or they have travel restrictions, or they just don't want to travel, or companies don't send people on travel, the drop in price will have very little or limited effect, or the drop in price needs to be so dramatic in order to have any impact that it is complete disproportion between the price drop you need to do and the demand increase you want to see. So generally, we're advising hotels in the current situation to actually keep their prices in line, not just with what last year was, but in line with what the value of the property is offering to the guest. That obviously is different if you're a 5-star property or 2-star property. If many players in a market start to lower their rates, we do run the danger of spiraling into a price war, and that does not help anyone because you don't get out of that. And also, I believe that now more than ever, understanding the hotel's value and cost, and then in turn offer rates that allow for a profitable booking value is really, really important, because yeah, there are less money to be made right now. There are less bookings, but at least the ones you have, you should make them on a profitable level. At the same time, leveraging the opportunities in the market is important. Now, we have a predominant European install base, and a number of our clients have actually seen very good demand periods over this summer. Let that be the Polish mountaineering hotels. And that allowed them to raise prices even higher than what they've had last year. So having the tools and the processes in place that allow you to detect and react to those kind of demand changes and to those kind of opportunities is for us really, really important in this game. Similarly, we would advocate to run controlled experiments, also with price drops or with lowering prices, but in the form of like offers or discounts rather than a widespread drop. So and then you can do that in order to test the market and see what kind of price elasticity is out there. If you drop the prices a little bit, if you get a lot more demand, or if you drop the prices, there's no more booking. So to sum this up, across the board price drops are, in my opinion, not the answer, since currently they will not increase demand significantly. But using opportunities in the market through OTAs or through different channels, through direct channels, to try what is possible, that certainly can be done.
Thank you, Claudio. I want just to make a point here. If everybody let me. Always love to make a point.
We don't have a choice, so please go.
I totally agree what you just said, Claudio. If we start a price war, the first thing that will happen with your hotel, if you drop down your prices, really, you're going to change the kind of client that goes to your hotel. If you're a 5-star hotel, you cannot sell on 3 stars. Okay, it's not the same public. And if you do that, you're going to lose the public that normally goes to your hotel, or that's the profile of your customer. If you do that, you have a highly risk to change. And when this comes to the normal, you're going to try to set it up your prices again, and then it's going to cost you a lot to go from. And another thing, right now we have a lot of lockdowns in Europe, for example. We already have one this year for 2 months in most of the countries. Maybe it's time that, again, to stop and see what we can do. So when I say we, I said everybody, and say the hotels, what we can do looking for the future. Try to play in your strategies. Try to play in your market set, your marketing set. How are you going to spend your money to get clients? Or at least use all the data that you have in your hotel to already contact those clients selling for the future. Try to sell in package. Try to don't use policies, hard policies that's not refundable, for example. Try to be flexible. That will help. That's all what I need to say. Rudy, Enzo, Jennifer, Francine, James.
Well, let me tell you something. Maybe I will be not really unpolitical. I'm not kind of.
Go ahead. This is the time for discussion. That's good.
I agree that dropping down rates is not the solution. When the low demand is low, there is nothing you can. And reducing price, normally what happens is you switch demand from an hotel to another. You are not generating new demand, and that's clear. But we are talking here in a particular topic, which is not low demand here. We are talking about financial crisis in the world, guys. Do you think that travelers, they have the same spending power for the next travel? Don't you think that maybe they may need, more incentive to travel with affordable rates and make sure that we can keep continuing, starting this cycle of traveling again? So I think that we should take in consideration 2 aspects. First, of course, segments. We cannot drop down in any segments. We, of course, have to look at the data and try to understand how we can adjust the strategy to match the demand back again. But we don't have to forget that, guys, so the spending power of traveler is different tomorrow. So we should look at this aspect also. It is important. I'm including myself. I mean, I'm a traveler person. I travel for business, for life.
I'm also.
But sometimes, in this period, I have a lot of friends earning less money. They want to travel back again next year, but probably they will have less budget, less money, less power. So,
but maybe
let's
that
think
is
about it.
positive in a different way, Enzo. Maybe that is positive if we're talking about local. Maybe a lot of people don't will travel for the next year. Maybe we don't will we don't will recover the 2018. That will happen. But maybe this is an opportunity to get a lot of new clients in your own country, and
That's
also
good, that's good. But let me tell you, in Italy, where I come from,
yeah.
even if I live in Spain, the most important cities such as Rome, Florence, I don't know, Venice, Milan,
Yeah.
Sorrento coast, whatever, they are quite expensive, you know. So
Yeah.
we Italian, when we travel, we go in a lower cost places. Now that we have to travel locally, it's very hard to afford 300, 400, 500 euro nights in a 4-star hotel in Sorrento or in a very trendy fashion hotel in Milan. So we have to keep that in mind. So we have to face this situation now. We have a financial crisis, and we have to deal with local traveler. I don't know you guys in your country, but Italians traveling are very annoying, and when they go to hotel, they expect to get high standard at a lower price. So that's the truth, you know.
That happens all over the world, I assume. So, anybody else want to say something about this? If not, we move to Jennifer, please.
Yes, I just had something quick to echo what
And we
Claudia
have
said.
Rudy 1-2. He's like, I have
Yes.
something to say. Come on.
Just let me say.
No, it's Jennifer, not Jennifer. Jennifer. Just 1 second, Rudy. Go, Jennifer.
It's an
Your turn.
exciting
Then we go to.
topic. It's an exciting topic. I'll be quick and let Rudy have his chance as well. But I just wanted to echo what Claudia said. I think that dropping prices is not the right thing. What we need to be doing is looking at finding competitive rates. So the best way to do that is looking at both the demand data, so who's coming into your market, but also what your competitors are doing, and pricing your rooms accordingly. So basically, that's what I wanted to highlight, that those two key types of data are really what you want to focus on at the moment, because those are the things that are going to allow you to determine whether you're pricing yourself out of the market, either by being too low or too high, and whether you're affecting your brand, like Vinny said, by decreasing your price too much.
Rudy,
Okay,
go ahead,
thank you very much. No, just let me say, I agree. I totally agree with Claudio. It's not a question about rates right now because there's no demand. So it's a big issue right now. But I think that next year, maybe from April, June, we don't know, maybe we can build our rate structure according to the demand. And we have OTA Insight that help us to forecast our demand. So right now, I would say people, the few people that are traveling, they are looking for safety, like friendly cancellation policies and payment policies, not just rates. I mean, I think it will be in next year. Rates will be important for the first travelers to go on, but right now I think it's more a question about safety, about payment policies, cancellation policies.
and how you can feel about going to a place that you feel secure, even if it doesn't. For example, if you're young, maybe young people, that doesn't matter. But for example, I'm married. I'm 42 years old, so I don't want to get sick. So if you travel, you'll try to find a place that you know it's not high level contagious, or the safety that hotels has at the time. So the good thing for hoteliers, please use your website to communicate that. Use your LinkedIn, use your Instagram, email marketing, Telegram channel, WhatsApp channel, all of that social media that you have at your hands, use it to communicate that. Even take on your PMS database, look for that customers that have a radio of 500 kilometers and send directly to them every single email marketing or a message, doesn't matter, but do it. And explain that you're following all the necessary, I forgot the word. Okay, the things to not.
Precautions.
Yes, precautions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so let's just move on to the next question, unless anyone has anything else.
I could just add one thing, and I'm not a revenue manager, but so I'll be really quick. but you also have to look at the type of demand that there is, because obviously what we've lost hugely is the international and the business travel, and there are hordes of hotels that was purely what they do, whereas there is still a demand on leisure and domestic leisure. So hotels, and we've seen examples of it, actually need to pivot and remarket their product, and not actually to achieve any kind of rate, because they need to be able to attract the right type of traveler and understand what type of travelers do have that ability to travel and spend, and which type of travelers are literally ruled out through any period.
Very good point. Okay, so the next question is for Francine. So here's her question. Do you think hoteliers can actually create demand right now?
Firstly, I want to start by being positive, because I think we've seen some great advancements this week in terms of new vaccinations. We had the first COVID-free flight from New York to London. We're hearing better things about testing and tracing, and being able to reduce the self-isolation periods on returning from international travel. So, despite how we're all feeling at the moment, I feel positive about what the future holds. I think it's going to get better. It's going to take some time, but it is going to get better. Having said that, right now, today, I don't think as hoteliers we can create demand in the market. Unless you're in that staycation market, and we talked, Claudio, you mentioned Poland. I know the UK has benefited a lot from the staycation market, particularly over the summer when hotels were open. But if you're reliant on more of an international travel base, you're going to struggle. And the decision about whether to travel or not to travel, that demand isn't, it's driven by COVID, really. It's driven by, I think, personal choice. So, do I feel safe traveling? But also limitations and restrictions that are imposed by governments, so whether there's travel bans or not. And I think, first and foremost, and Vinny, you talked about this, is, assuring any guest who does find your hotel that you are a safe and secure place for them to travel, and that you've got their well-being at the front of your mind. So think about, how are you delivering your services in this new world? Have you got an app to make things contactless, for example? What sort of cleanliness and hygiene have you got in place? And make sure you feature that, so that if somebody is looking to travel, they find you, they know that they can feel safe with you. There is some demand traveling, or still some travel happening. And I think for a hotelier now, it's about, rather than being able to increase that demand, making sure that you at least get your fair share, if not a little bit more. James touched on it earlier, the mix of travel has changed. So I think, business, corporate, MICE travel is pretty much nil at the moment. And the other thing that's changed is that we're seeing is the booking window. So where people would book, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months in advance, now it's 6 days, 3 days, 2 days, same day. That booking window has collapsed, and people are looking, last minute. So you need to be, as a hotelier, looking at what's happening in demand. What is the intent to travel? What are the signals out there so that you can react to that? Outside of hospitality, I think there's great examples of businesses that do that. Retail is a prime example. Once your intent you look at something that's classed as an intent to buy, how many adverts do you see presented with that item in all different social media? They analyze potential intent, and they do everything they possibly can to convert you. So for hospitality, I think it's about looking at that in the same way. There's millions and millions of data points. Jennifer, you talked earlier about flight search data, but there's meta search data on the OTA websites. There's what's happening on your own website. There's that flight search data. You can start to picture or create a picture of what that intent is likely to be. So rather than relying, as we talked about, on that historical data, which doesn't have the same value now, it's about that forward-looking data, looking at those changes in demand signals and being able to act on them immediately. If the booking window is so short and you suddenly see demand for a weekend stay coming out of Germany, for example, you want to pivot your marketing and all your efforts into targeting anybody who might be coming from Germany for a long weekend. Maybe you put a special offer in place. So not dropping your prices, as Claudio mentioned, but looking at a package offer that you can present to them. I think the other thing that's really important is that you look at your competitors. Typically in hospitality, as hoteliers, we've had this kind of static comp set where we've looked at rates for the same hotels, but that's changing now. You know, I, as a potential guest, may be looking at hotels, but I might also be looking at service departments because perhaps I feel safer in that environment where there's less contact. If I'm a, 4-star hotel, perhaps I'm seeing, 5-star hotels who, because they're not able to offer the same services as they have done historically, they're being forced to maybe rethink their rates and they're coming into the same space as me. So it's really important to take a look at your competitors from a dynamic perspective. It's not what you think, it's what the potential guest thinks when they're searching. And you need to understand that so you can, again, make any adjustments to your strategy to take advantage of those guests. I think the other thing to think about when you're looking at how you capitalize on the demand that there is how you get all the different teams in your hotel working together. So it's not just revenue management or sales or distribution or marketing, but it's everybody pulling together as one, so that, let's say, as soon as you see changes in demand, you can quickly change your strategy to take advantage of it, to capitalize on the demand that there is there. It's a real team effort in a hotel these days to make sure that the right guest has the right offer at the right time so that they stay with you and not somebody else.
Christian, I would like to set a point. I totally agree with you. But I don't think so. It's tough to understand the customer. I agree with you that. But hoteliers have the option to understand that the past, what happened, as I already told many times, they can focus on target those clients that already passed through that hotel. So, and also, maybe if they never set a strategy to use, an example, a tag manager or pixels for Facebook or Instagram, if the hoteliers did that in the past, they will understand each client comes from Facebook, each client comes from LinkedIn, each client comes from direct sales, each client comes from Instagram, for example. Then you can set the behavior, what kind of client you have from each direct channel, for example. And based on that, you can build an entire strategy to get that client back to you. And of course, right now, proximity. The other thing that I will do to set it up, and then I leave you speaking. I'm so sorry. I love to speak. I have experience. I have 15 years. I'm 15 years in this market. I started in 2004, so I have a big experience also. So I just want you to set down. Just one more thing. I forget now. I spoke too much. I forgot. I just lose myself. happens. It seems that happens. I lose the way, but it doesn't matter. I will remember. Anybody else?
Well, let me respond to your point on.
I remember. Sorry, Vincent. Just finishing. So what we have. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. We need to have fun a little bit. It's part of the show. The behavior, we have last minute reservations. I totally agree with you. During the lockdown, we have like 45 to 19 days up from looking for book a hotel or a trip to any other part. Then when we go out of the lockdown, we have that all last minutes starting to come in the last minute, 40 hours, 72 hours on the same day, for example. But after 25 days, the behavior start changing again. So then the clients start looking for 15 to 30 days in the front. Till they have, again, we're gonna lock down you guys again. So when they saw that, they stop it searching and start them looking. So when we go out of this lockdown again, so make sure that the behavior will change, because I think it will be the same. That's only my opinion, considering what we passed through at the end.
Okay, so let me answer both of those then, Vinny.
Awesome.
The first point about the historical behavior. And I'm going to use a couple of examples of hotels. So if you're in a city like London, where your demand historically has been around business travel, international travel, events, conferences, you've got to find new guests. The guests that are traveling right now are not going to be the same guests as last time. So you can't rely on that historical information. Okay. Likewise, I live out, in the country. I'm in the Cotswolds, beautiful country house hotels in our area, again, heavily reliant on international travel. They've had to pivot in order to take advantage of the staycation market to focusing on domestic travel, putting packages together that are maybe shorter. So instead of having somebody stay for a week because they're international, it's a 2-night stay, targeting local. So I think demand and that MICE travel, international travel will return over time, and it'll be slow and it'll be sporadic and it'll change. Just like you said, one day we might be going to Cyprus, the next day we're not, because restrictions have come into place. So that is affecting the booking window. And it's, as changes are pivoting, as a country closes down or another one opens up, that's where we need to be looking at what that means to the demand we're seeing and potentially changing our strategy so that, if we're 1 in 10 hotels, we don't just get 10%, we get maybe 15% or 20%, because we're really targeted and talking to the right people at the right time.
Thank you, Francine.
My pleasure.
I tell you mine, guys. So I want to go back to the basic here, to the question, can hotelier actually create demand? I think creating demand is part of the job, part of their job, guys, from my point of view. Of course, creating demand is not hotelier's job. It's creating demand is coming from different angles, from different perspectives. Yeah. There are a lot of different aspects that influence traveler to choose a destination, a particular property. But I think in this, cycle, there is a little responsibility also from the hotel side generating demand. And let me tell you, especially now that the world is changing from some part of, the behavior, the way we used to, travel, and the way hotels used to guest customers, used to host customers. I think they have to now be looking at, as we said, of course, we have to look at the local market. I think they have to also start to think where is possible. Of course, I'm not talking about small properties, but where we have, big size structure or groups, large groups, to redesign the way they used to sell rooms and start to selling not more units. Okay, we always look at ADR, RevPAR, selling, 100 rooms per day. I think they should start now look at the space, the way they sell the space. Let me give you some example. I have some hotelier friends now trying to sell rooms for free, including in the dinner. For example, they are offering a package which include dinner, and you have, I don't know, few hours accommodation available of a room. Or for example, I see a lot of hotels selling rooms for a membership monthly payment, like, I don't know, Citizen M. They are distributing this new membership program where you pay monthly a membership and you get access to any Citizen M rooms for a certain amount of hours and days, wherever you are in the world. Or you can rent a room not only for going there to sleep. Maybe I need an office meeting point where I can host my conference school, where I can do my business activity, where I can meet people in the city. Maybe buying a package where include, I don't know, 4 hours room only use with a office corner, and then you have free access to the branch. So I think they have to generate demand. Actually, they have to be more creative now. They have to switch the focus from the traditional way of selling units, one room. Now they have to think more in space. So, and I hear now talking as often about space as a service. Now it's not more like, I'm giving you my room meeting, that's the square, that's the space, that's the price. No, you have to combine now the service, room, space, catering, these kind of things. So I think creativity and differentiate the way they are selling now is a key now. So I think in this way they can be part of this change. They can be part, and they can be active in the demand generation. That's my opinion on that.
I mean, if I can add a very short on this, I think that sorry, Francine. Like, I think it would be like not short-sighted, but I mean, hoteliers do play a role in that demand generation. I think we can't just say, oh, I'm a city center hotel, like people come to my city, like, and I'm like just waiting for the guests to arrive. And I think many leisure hotels already have that, like particularly leisure hotels that are not at a major tourist spot. They already have that. They already need to do advertising. They already need to bring in the guests. They need to organize conferences even themselves. They did that before the pandemic, and they don't need to do this now. And I think particularly, and you, Francine, put on that before, or touched on that before, like that hoteliers have this role to play to ensure everybody is safe. And I mean, to a large degree, I think everybody in hospitality, hotels, restaurants, and so on, we need to be the front runner in being safe and make sure like there is literally nothing happening in any of these facilities, as impossible as that task is. But that will like prove to everyone that this industry is safe, which in turn is the kind of enable for have any kind of demand in the future.
Well, it would be nice to listen, Rudy, as you are providing RM consulting, right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Hoteliers to generate demand.
Yeah, Enzo, I totally agree. I think that you've mentioned if you have dinner in my hotel, I will offer you the room. I think that's the new romantic package for the COVID-19. So that's the way. I think people have to be creative. So we have to be, from one hand, from the hotel side, we need to do all our job. I mean, we have to do all the contracts, we have to do all the promotions, we have to be in contact with all the tour operators, with online travel agencies. We have to do what we are paying for at the end of the day. But for the other hand, we also depend on the travel industry more than ever. So with all these restrictions, as Francine mentioned, so we are depending on the travel industry, and by the other end, on the proactive side of the hotels. So I think we need to work on both sides. So from one hand, proactive business. From the other hand, we are depending on the issues caused by COVID-19 as well. So I think we have to work all the time and to bring as much business as I can.
Yeah, and I would just say, Enzo, to pick up on your point, I think some of the examples that you gave, a hotel has kind of three things. It's got space, it's got time, and it's got services. And it has to now be really creative in how it combines and packages those together. So I think that's about creating new channels and new areas of demand that traditionally they wouldn't have thought about before, like Citizen M with their subscription package. And there's, we've seen other examples. I think,
also.
Yeah, Accor did it. Hoxton in London, they created a pop-up hotel in the country to come and stay over the summer. And that you stay 2 nights in a yurt, and then you get a free night in their London hotel at some point in the future when you feel safe. So it's about being creative and thinking, what is it that you can do differently with the space, with the time, the services that you've got?
Yeah, you're totally right. And on top of this, you start to differentiate. We always talk about differentiation between one hotels and another. So how you differentiate? Be creative with this kind of, combination of bundling, the services, the space, and you bring the value in this way, and that will also make sure that today, I'm talking about Citizen M as an example, and probably when I will come back to travel again, it will pop up in my mind again, Citizen M, probably, because they've been marketing, they've been communicating in the right way, they've been creating this differentiation. Probably I will be their customer in the future, So that's a way also to create the visibility in a right way, not only pushing rates, of course, but the concept of differentiation and bundling the services, I think is a very key now.
Awesome.
Can I ask a
I'm so
quick
sorry.
question? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Just one thing, guys. Let's rush a little bit with our questions. We already have 4 questions for the public. I also request for the public to stay with us and set up more questions. Yesterday we have more than 20 questions for all the speakers. So I'll request if we can rush a little bit to be on time. If not, we're going to be like 3 hours. Yesterday was a session of 3 hours. So for me, it's okay. But just for the public, like this, we can rush a little bit. I think we need to interact, of course. Just move forward to try to get that half an hour to speak with the public. I think is the most important and relevant that we're going to have. So for all the attendants, please set up all your questions. All of them. I already read 4 of them. Please set up more. At the end of the second round of questions, I will start with your personal questions. And if you want to do personal questions for any speakers here, be my guest. And be very tricky if possible. Go ahead, Jennifer. Sorry, I'm shutting my mouth now.
No, that's okay. I was just going to ask a follow-up question for all of you, but since we want to move on, it's probably better to just skip that. And we can move on to the next question unless somebody else has any other comments.
Let's move to the next question.
All right. So next question is for you, Rudy. So what can we learn with trends shown by COVID in the online business? Do you think that we can have more profitability from the online in the future? So this, situation is accelerating the digitalization and from the distribution point of view.
Well,
Most of important. Sorry, I missed this part.
Okay.
We win our fear regarding OTAs because, as we know, especially in this period, hotels are trying to sell more directly because as they are working more on a local market, we discovered that effectively the direct sale has increased tremendously from that point of view. So do you think this acceleration gave more opportunity in the online distribution and gain more, power versus OTA?
I believe so. We have learned so many things in the last few months. So with COVID-19, we have so many travel restrictions and government restrictions as well, that we are learning to do a strategy on a daily basis for the next day. Before COVID-19, we were doing strategies for the next 90 days, for example. So we are trying to learn how to do a strategy for tomorrow. That's what we are talking about. If I think that I need to do a strategy for tomorrow, because in 2 days things may change due to the restrictions, some points that are very important right now are the last-minute bookings, last-minute offers regarding the question of the price. It's very important. I should have less restrictions. I mean, if in an OTA you can cancel 72 hours prior to the arrival date without penalty, in my website you can have like 24 hours. I will not decrease my rate, but I will give you more options and better options in my website. I can have like added values in my rates as well. So I would say like I can improve my business directly from my website. In the summer in Portugal, in some of our clients, we have seen like 50 to 60% of the business coming from the website, not from the main OTAs that we all know. So I think that there's no reason to fear OTAs. I think we must work all together. But I need to have more share of my business coming from my website, because at the end of the day, I will have more profit with those kind of bookings. But I also need to work with OTAs and all the offline business as well. So I would say that we are learning to work on a daily basis. We now know that we can do a better strategy in our website. I mean, give direct discount, give added values, put in place all the strategies regarding retargeting, marketing, etc. I think this is what we have learned with COVID-19 at least. I don't know if you share my opinion or if it is different or not. But this is what I think.
I totally share your opinion, Rudy. The only thing that, for example, if you're a leisure hotel or you're based in a place that you can have a lot of leisure, because we know MICE, that will go up for more than 30% occupation. That's a reality. even if we like it or not, is the reality that we will see even into 2021. That's in the first beginning of that, at least. One thing that hotels can do also to promote their destination, they can try to make business or partnerships with local leisure stuff. For example, I don't know, if you have some kind of historical places, if you have you're based in a beach and have scuba diving, try to make partnerships with those companies to offer your hotel reservations with a package of leisure, for example, or a package where those people that go to your hotel, they can do something after, they can buy all together in one place and not lose your time. And that you can do directly from your direct sell. The only thing you need to have only a partnership for that. That's the only comment I want to.
Okay.
Nobody else? So we
Great.
move to the next question.
Okay. The next question is for James. We've obviously been through a period of low demand over the last 8 months. What trends has SiteMinder seen through this period? And what actions have hotels taken to drive demand? What has worked and what hasn't?
Thanks, Jennifer. So obviously quite a few layers to that question. And you know, it's in a position where we are, we do see a lot of data from hotels, and we do get to speak to a lot of those personally, sort of one-to-one, to really figure out what's working and what isn't, especially through, you know, some of the larger groups that are working through us. And I mean, realistically, we've seen a multitude of different tactics from hotels to try and increase the demand on their properties, a lot of which we've already spoken about through various questions, because let's face it, like the whole subject of this this panel is around demand, right? But so we're going to cover this probably previously and a little bit more in the questions. But I mean, it does range, of course, from increasing or modifying their distribution channels to meet the type of guests that are looking to book at this time, or, you know, creating promotions either through their direct channels, through their direct marketing, or through distribution. We have seen hotels trying to slash their rates to, like we see it in the data, to try and drive those reservations, you know, to their door, competing for the lower demand through existing channels. We've seen actually quite a bit of an increase in quite a few hotels actually increasing the number of platforms they've got integrated into their existing tech stack, like getting business intelligence, getting revenue management, getting review and reputation management plugged in, because they're seeing that these are becoming important parts of their ecosystem that they need to be working on to try and either capture demand or do a better job with the guest data that they already have. Changing their rate structure, getting more flexible rates, getting rid of those rates or cancellation policies, which has been spoken about a lot over the last 6 to 8 months, albeit those have a higher risk of cancellation. We've also seen quite successfully an increase in the use of Meta, especially through channels like Google, where properties are seeing a higher impact on their direct reservations through those channels, and that's really because of the type of guests that they're attracting, the kind of guest that's using that ends up finding you through a Meta site is your domestic leisure guest, right? Very typically. That's not to say that Meta is the answer. I don't think any one of those things is the answer. Everybody has to have a strategy, and it's always going to be changing, sort of month in, month out, or certainly 6 months ago it was changing every week, if not every day. It's certainly not one size fits all. You can't copy and paste strategy from one hotel to another, but just understand all the different elements that you've got available to you. And it's like A/B testing to see what's going to work and make sure that you're measuring it as success each time you do that. What I can say for sure is that hotels that have sat back and waited for the phone to ring again and wait for those guests to come have definitely lost out. I mean, there's hotels out there, business, that are being very proactive. And we've mentioned Citizen M, a great example. I actually had a reservation booked with them, which I had to cancel because of COVID, and their communication was actually really great, like in terms of that process and the communication since, right? So I'm actually, I'm caught, I'm in a database, so it's great And if you're not in a lot of hotel databases, I recommend you try and get into them, because you get to see a lot of different examples of how people are communicating through different periods, and it's a great way to do research. So, it's a real chance to learn those different tactics from different hotels through those low demand periods. That's pretty much what we've been seeing.
Awesome. Somebody has some insight or some opinion that you want to share? If not, we move to the next question. No? Okay. Just for the attendance, please still send in all your questions, please. So I don't know who will present. Please move forward. Let's go to the next question.
All right, so this question is for Rudy. What strategy can we put in place to have better performance than our competitors in difficult times?
Well, I think James just mentioned some of these points right now. This is not, I have not an answer for everyone, so each reality is different from the other, but I would say that this is the time to reorganize ourselves, to reanalyze our segmentation, our sub-segmentation. I think we need to go deeper in our segmentation, try to find what Francine said before as well. So the new customers that we may have in our hotels, we need to reanalyze our policies, we need to reanalyze our rate structure, we need to do all the proactive work regarding the OTAs, etc. And I think we need to look again to our competitors, not just on a regular basis, but per segment as well. So we have all these kind of new competitors, like service departments, like other kind of hotels, but it's per segment. We need to look the new segments that our competitors are having right now due to the COVID-19, and we need to improve our strategy in the meta, retargeting, remarketing, etc. I think it's all of that we have talked before, and mainly the main idea that I want to share is, please reorganize yourself, rethink your strategy, rethink your sub-segmentation, and try to find the new customers that you may have in this kind of specific sub-segmentation. That's the main idea that I want to share with all the people that are hearing us here in the webinar. I don't know if you agree, if you have anything else to share.
I definitely.
Sorry, go ahead, Jennifer.
Well, I was just going to say that I definitely agree. I think that all of those are very important. And also to echo what James said earlier about upgrading your tech stack, I think now is the time to make sure that you are prepared so that when demand does start to increase, you're able to harness it. And so, having the right tools in place is really important right now, just to be able to make sure that you are able to know the trends, know what's coming, and be able to act appropriately and get as many of those bookings as you can now and post-pandemic.
Yeah, I would definitely support that. I think technology with reduced teams in particular these days plays such a massive part for decision making and understanding what's going on. If you're trying to analyze all the data that's available manually, you're behind the curve to start with. So getting the best technology fit for you, for your business, and utilizing that within an inch of its life to help you make those decisions so that you're focused on the execution of the decision rather than trying to work out which way you should go is crucial.
Yeah, as a tech provider, I can only underline that, I think, as we all can. So
Yeah,
I think it's obviously, just to be more on the side of mental health as well. I mean, we also see the flip side of this, of many hotels that are still closed, particularly, and I see that daily, like many hotels in Barcelona are still closed. So putting new tech in place is a bit of a challenge if your staff is not working. So and also we see a lot of our customer support team, for example, sees a quite a different kind of profile right now, calling our support line. Those are all of a sudden the owners, or like very senior people in the hotel that all of a sudden have to deal with distribution. and the daily lives of distribution, which normally would be taken on by somebody in the staff, but they're either not working or they're part-time working. So that is also a challenge for the hotels, I think, that we're right now a bit overlooking at this moment in time. Like, if you're closed, you still need to be able to ensure that you're bookable in the future. The pandemic will be over, so like you obviously there needs to be set a time when you say, like, okay, from March onward, I'm accepting reservations. That needs to be managed. We're not talking about just right now. Like, okay, Jim's and I, we're doing the same thing here, mainly as a channel manager, but yeah, the point is that we do have the next 720 days out to sell. So that needs attention right now, not just, we don't pay attention just now for now, we pay attention now also for the next almost 2 years to sell. So that's a different perspective to look at as well.
And then also, just to add to that is, yes, a lot of people don't have budget right now, but a lot of the technology providers are offering, free trials, extended free trials of their products right now. So don't be afraid to ask. I think it's important to, communicate with different companies and see if there's somebody who can work within your budget, or if they can give you, a free trial, because it is very important. It is going to be the tool that's going to help you be more successful and help you earn more now. So find ways, and thinking outside the box, asking for people to work within your budget. I think tech providers are a lot more flexible nowadays, and want to help you. So
Absolutely.
I just want to make a point. Very fast. First, that we technology companies, we're not a cost. We will help hotels to get revenue and to sell. Without us, you're gonna work as you were in 1990. So, second point, maybe I think 70%, 80% of hoteliers have no idea what the tools they're using is capable of. So, before starting moving from another to platforms, check out what you use on your platform. Check it out if you really are using everything you have in your hands. If you're using everything you have in your hands and it's not do not help you, then search for a different one. But it's the timing to use. And then something that I like to call marketing war. It's like a war of marketing. You don't have budget, you don't have money, and you need to do things or stuff to make yourself visible. You can do that without spending money. You can use your social media, as I'm repeating all the time. Maybe like a disco baby, but okay. I'm repeating myself all the time, but I'm repeating myself all the time because you have the data, you have the customers, you have the leads, you can check that. You have the people that follow you, you have the marketing, you have the message through WhatsApp, Telegram. You can use that. You really can use that. So maybe you can do marketing without budget. Maybe you cannot have money for Google Hotel Ads, but you can connect Google Hotel Ads without paying for that ads and pay commissions. That's an example. If you don't have money for AdWords, don't do it. Use it maybe this time. I'm sure that also OTAs right now are not spending too much money on that. You just need to find a way and look at what you have and how you can use the tools that you have right now to make sure to communicate with your clients. And you're going to have good results. Maybe we don't go to 80% inflation when we come through this lockdown. But you have the tools. Watch your tools. Take your time right now. Don't rush. Look what we have and then move forward, step by step. Just one thing. Sorry, guys.
I think that's a really good point about, making sure you're clear on what you do have before you start investing in additional tools.
Correct.
Yeah, guys. I talk with hotels every day, but with many of them. But there is still a little issue here. In some cases, even when you offer free tools or trial, whatever. Lastly, I heard some, reply from hotels. I don't have time. I'm not sure. I think there is also a part of the industry here, guys, that need a little bit more culture. Okay, so let's be honest. I won't be challenged here, guys, but I want to be clear and transparent. I told you I'm not political correct person, But the truth is that there are a lot of hotels, guys, I'm talking every day, that invent any excuse not to work. And sometimes this is hard, because if you are facing this situation, it's not about only waiting the customer coming back again. You have to be proactive. You have to think of the future more strategically. If you have a very old channel manager that doesn't work and is not providing you connectivity, why are you still using? Why do you still use it? And when someone is proposing you change the channel manager, improve yourself, improve the way you distribute, I don't have the time. Right now, you have the time. So I think this is a very hard feedback that I'm getting from some hotels. Honestly, this is not very, honestly, I agree 100% in that. But let's be honest, guys, we have to push those guys to adapt technology. And you know, the industry, guys, is composed by different type of companies. So are we talking to large chain, large group, or small independent properties? And when it comes to small independent properties, there's still, you know, some friction in some of those aspects. So let's convince those guys to, you know, get more adoption in technology, and that's my you know, push.
Just to finish, I don't want to take too much time because we need to follow within the other questions. However, one thing that's very important also at this point, just an observation. When we go to hotels, we see, for example, you go to receptionists. When you call, maybe that receptionist says to you, okay, look, go to booking.com and do a reservation. I don't have time, it doesn't matter. That means that you do not train correctly your staff. So first point, you need to train your staff in different ways. Receptionists needs to be able to understand they need to sell directly. Your reservations teams needs to have a strategy when they call you and they tell you, oh, but the hotel next to you has 10 euros less. They need to have on their screen, PMS or direct sales, special prices for a call center, for example. Just it's a few examples. Other example, when you go to reception of the hotels, the most, what you see most is TripAdvisor, oh, booking, 9 points. Then I see Expedia. Guys, this doesn't matter. But the only thing you're doing is promoting Booking, is promoting TripAdvisor, is promoting Expedia, is promoting MetaSearch. You're promoting to pay commissions. So if you get those rewards, awesome, outstanding. But put them on the wall, on behind of the receptionist, on the front, on the desk, the front, when the people arrive to your hotel, they need to see something telling, hey, welcome. We have a fidelization software. Come and get come and buy together, buy directly with us. And next time you're going to have 10% discount. Be our guest, be our VIP. That is what you need to do. Not set it up. I have 9.5 in booking. Awesome, that is great. Behind, not in the front. The front needs to be your hotel. What you will provide for that customer. That is the main point of here. That is the most important thing for you as a hotelier. You need to do a fidelization of your clients and get them. If not, you will always will work. I understand we never can sell 100% hotel directly. I here in Brazil, a few chains that tell me, no, I have 90% direct sales. I know, of course, yeah, sure. But okay, let's move forward. That's the only tip I want you to give all of you. Keep putting your questions in.
I'll make you some fun, guys. Going back to the culture aspect, right? So there was a conversation a few weeks ago with my friends in Porto about this hotelier, which is our friends, and he's still using, you know, legacy technology in the hotel. And during the first lockdown, he was in trouble because he was not able to access to the PMS. And it was at home. So how can I do that now? How can I access my PMS? My PMS physically is in the hotel with all the hardware and stuff. So he went out in the night during the lockdown, avoiding, you know, Main Street and police control, to go to the hotel, bring the hardware on the back shoulder, bring it back in the car, and run back home, because he was not able to access data and information because his PMS was an old legacy technology. And,
if you have this kind of technology, please change it straight away.
That's the moment, you know. There's no excuse saying like I don't have time, you know. That's the
Now is the most. They have more time than ever. Yes, Jenny.
Sorry, I also wanted to mention that yes, it does when you're saying you don't have time to get new technology. It takes a bit more time up front to learn, but in the end, it saves you so much time operationally going forward because of the fact that these technologies are automated, and with integration, then you eliminate so much data entry, you eliminate all of this extra work that your staff have to do. So in the end, yes, there's a little bit of upfront work with considering new technology, but it always ends up in the end, because of the automation factor, ends up saving you time, you know, once you get back into those busy times when you've got guests and, you know, you don't have the time to actually do that research at that point.
I think the other part that goes into that is, you know, looking at budget constraints. We know now budget is tight for every single hotelier. And it's hard to make those investment decisions, but I think it's important to look at the return on that investment. Does it mean, you know, a little bit of extra revenue per room per night? How does that then roll up? So with the investment that you're making in technology, pay for itself in a month, 2 months, 3 months? And are you losing revenue by not making that investment?
It's true. It's also a hard period now for when, as Claudia and others mentioned, when hotels are shut, to link that investment to an increase in revenue per room when there's no rooms coming through, right? So which is why, you know, that conversation with the hotel is a little harder in those regions where those hotels aren't currently open and operating. But I still believe it's important that you use this downtime and use that time effectively. And certainly I think the tech stack is one piece that is going to, I think it's going to be a short-term pain for long-term gain. Now, I always used to say that, and you know, when talking to hotels day to day on behalf of SiteMinder, just around the effort in setting up and getting it absolutely spot on. Like, you know, you're going to have to invest some time into this, do it really well, and you're going to reap the benefits in the future. Now, when it comes to this scenario, there's going to be some short-term pain because yes, there may be, you know, some investment up front when actually, you know, the demand on the hotel is fairly low and they're not seeing the number of reservations that you would anyway. You can't promise that this technology coming in is going to suddenly drive rooms. I don't think there's any of us as technology companies who could honestly put their hand on heart and say that. But you have to say, look, you got to prepare yourself to be in a strong position. And you know, Enzo's mate who's running around with his server on his back is a perfect example of someone who needs to go through that pain, you know, and use this downtime to, you know, put themselves in a great position so that, you know, when they do come out of it in the other on the other side, they're going to be in a much stronger position.
Maybe I can give a bit of a funny example here. I mean, there was a Swiss dentist that put up an advertising a couple months ago and says, like, now is the best time for your braces, for correcting your teeth. And they put a picture up with a lady smiling with a mask on top. And I think it's a bit the same thing here. It's like, this is like really not an easy time to invest in technology, but it's probably the best time. It's also, I mean, we have seen a number of our clients, obviously the financially better situated ones, but I mean, they closed down happily and started the renovation that they've planned for the next 3 years. They just did that all in one go right now. I mean, if you have a hotel, right now is the best time to do a renovation. There will never be a better one. Obviously, you need the financial backing to do so, but yeah, now is really probably the best time to get your braces to correct it.
Right. So we
guys, I just will request you that we rush a little bit because we have already 12 questions from the public. So I would like that we finish 12 in 15 minutes, like this we can start. Jennifer and Enzo, you have access to the questions for the public, so you can after this finish, we'll do the questions. I will leave to you guys to do that. So let's move. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be rude with nobody. I'm so sorry. But we have so many questions. If not, it's going to be like yesterday, 3 hours. It's 3 hours too much.
All
So
right,
go ahead.
so
Go ahead.
the next question is for James. So if you can predict an extended low demand period in the future, what would you recommend hotels to do to soften the blow?
Okay, so it is possible, I think. I would say it isn't impossible to predict low demand periods typically. In if you look back 2019, what we don't understand right now is what that existing future is going to look like. So we haven't really got that base level to compare it against. But I mean, pre-COVID, hotels understood where their low season was, right? You know exactly where your lows are. It's predicting unexpected low demand during a high season that would actually give a hotel the edge. So if we were expecting April, May, June to be our peak season, but then you can predict that actually that's going to be much lower, and we're talking in another. Not in a parallel universe or anything like that, but assuming we're in 2022, 2023, looking at the lessons we learned from where we are right now, if you can see 30 to 60, 90 days out, then you're much better positioned to use the skills we've learned as an industry over the last 8 months to attract demand to your hotel when you need it. Like everything that we're talking about today, we're like, it's really almost like having a consider that there's a crystal ball. I think hoteliers will be paying a lot more attention to this over the next couple of years. I think it's a lesson that's probably going to stick with us for a while, and hopefully that becomes part of routine, rather than just sitting and waiting for incidents to happen, which historically would be like, you'd be 2 weeks out and you're like, oh, that Friday, Saturday night looks a bit low. We'll keep an eye on that, and then you get to within a week out. We need to be much better at seeing these patterns and actually understanding what's very different to what happened before. Quite rightly, hoteliers over the next couple of years are going to have some ground to make up on their bottom line. We've spoken about the reduced revenue a lot today. So when the sun starts shining again in the future, hoteliers really need to be prepared to make the most of those high demand periods, not just assuming that it's going to all be sunshine and roses as we carry on through here. In terms of the more immediate future, what we're seeing is that there's generally 5 stages involved in a hotel booking reset, and every country or every city is resetting at its own pace. Hoteliers would best served not looking at historical patterns and only sort of traditional metrics, but actually looking at guest preferences, behaviors, demands. They've all changed. That means the business mix for hotels should also change and diversify. So the people walking through the front door don't always have to be and won't always be the same ones as you were from before. And I'm not talking about the same actual guests, but from the same segment as we've spoken about previously. It's really diversifying how you really can position your hotel to attract different types of guests as well.
Got it. What's your thoughts, Claudio?
So I was just going to say, look, I mean, we've got actually probably 2 better experts to talk about future demand than me. I mean, historically, as we spoke about, for revenue management was about, hey, what happened last year, and how can we use that data to predict what's going to happen next year? But last year's data is useless. So because we really can't look at the last 365 days. So we really need to start looking further forward and looking at business on the books and other data sets and other information that's going to help us to kind of predict where we're going to put our rates and where we can see those guests coming from, what segments are going to be attracted at what time. And I think that for itself is the hotels who can really take advantage of that are going to be well positioned in the future.
Gotcha. Let's see what Claudio think about it.
About everything, or where the future demand is coming from?
Yeah, more about that future.
I mean, the future is the future. So like James just mentioned, I mean, in the short run, it's still going to be very, very difficult, and to really predict what's going to happen, because like there are a lot of, like Francine said, a lot of positive signals coming right now. I mean, the vaccine, but how fast is that going to be? How fast will that influence the travel restrictions? How fast will that influence the leisure segment? How fast will that influence the MICE segment? How fast will that influence the business segment? And it's probably in that order that it will start to kind of ease, and that's probably what he meant by these 5 steps that we're all going through. So at the same time, there will be a very like localized different approach. Like I would assume I'm pretty certain that a city like Barcelona, like London, like Paris will behave very different than a city like Krakow or a city like Warsaw, or even a leisure destination. But even within the leisure destinations, you know, we have really different kind of locations depending on the lockdown restrictions. So what I mean here is that an area like Benidorm that is living from fly-in tourists will have a very hard time to recover without having UK and German guests to be there, or the Balearic Islands. I think it's a better example. Versus you have Switzerland that historically has a 50-50 split between local guests and foreign guests. And now, if you lock the Swiss in, generally a comparably wealthy population, it's not that hard to actually can replace that other 50% that is not allowed to come. In Poland, the same thing happened. Poles normally would travel abroad. Now, if you lock them into their country artificially, you'll have a rebound quite fast if you allow them to travel. So what I'm trying to say here is that it will really be difficult to go through the different stages and generalize, because it will really depend a lot on the individual governmental restrictions to see that full rebound, to come back to I mean, not to overuse the word, the new normal and how that will look like.
Any other thoughts, James, Rudy?
No, I totally agree again with Claudio. This is the question of each country as is unwritten. So each country will have different timelines to increase their business again. So as Claudio mentioned, Spain will be different from Egypt, will be different from France, from the United States. So there's, as James mentioned, there's not an answer for everyone. Each country will have different paces. So I think this would be the answer for this question. It depends on each country, the government, the policies, etc.
I think.
Yeah, can I be a little bit provocative, guys?
Yes.
Should we ask employees in hotel to work extra hours to recover? Maybe hotels are not able to take back all the staff, and they may need to have less, workers, but with extra time. So we should expect from people, give a contribute to save the company. I mean, if I have an hotel, I can imagine if I'm an hotelier, 500 rooms in the middle of Barcelona with low demand and a very high cost to sustain my organization, and I should have a less employee and ask the less employee to work more. I mean, is there a way, guys? We have to, I think, give some clear inputs on that. So what do you think on that?
Well, I think technology can step in and handle a lot of that, so that there's not as much pressure on the employees. Personally,
I think there's a lot of roles in a hotel that technology, and certainly the guys in this audience can't replace. So I think it's a valid point, but realistically, look, it's down to the hotel, and it's down to the culture that they've developed within that hotel. It's down to the culture of the region where that hotel is located. Like, I've got friends still in hotels who would probably quite happily work 12, 15 hours a day, to see their hotel through. They love it, and they're going to do everything they can to do it. But that's the culture that's been driven into the business, or that's the culture of the environment where that hotel is located. It's really going to yeah. So again, it's hotel by hotel.
Yeah, I think, you know, as an industry, as a sector, hospitality's been one of the hardest hit, without a doubt, by the pandemic. And we've seen, you know, whether it's in F&B or accommodation providers, everybody's been hurt so badly. If there's a way for hotels to, if they're able to create new jobs to help people get back on their feet, that's going to go back to what Enzo mentioned earlier about, you know, how much money people have got in their pockets. You know, it's that kind of flow through. So if everybody does a little bit, will help to get the overall industry back on its feet, and get our colleagues back to, you know, doing what they love most, which is helping guests.
Got it. Any other thoughts, guys? Less employ, more technology, or both?
Yes, very quick. On my opinion, we have some important hotels. James showed us the technology cannot be replaced. However, also hoteliers, most of the employees on the hotelier sites, they don't make too much money. That's the real thing that we need to know. We are not professionals in hotels. I don't know why, but in our trade, maybe sometimes they don't have the value, they don't give the value, or they don't have the payment they deserve. I used to work as a receptionist when I finished my degree on engineering. Then I go to the south of Argentina at that time. I want to make ski, and I want to find a job where I can work and then ski. But I remember that sometimes I work 12 hours or 14 hours. So I request more effort for persons that got 1,000 euros. It depends. If we go to Portugal and Spain, they can only have 750 euros per month, 800. So I don't think that is the way. We need to first train our people that we have, give them effort, and then give them value. What I think is that we need training the staff and give them value. It's something that not happens in hotels. On my personal point of view, with experience of working in more than 50 countries. That's all. We can move to the next question because we have 12, 13 questions. 13. You cannot really, please finish.
No, I just want to add that as a consultant, we have different profiles of GMs, as Enzo mentioned before. We have the old guy and the new guy in the middle of nowhere, in the city center. It depends, I'm not judging, but people are buying more and more tools since March. All our clients are trying to know more about the tools, what can they have in terms of benefits from the tools. But for example, I can have an RMS, but if I cannot read the information, I don't know, how can I, you know, so that's where we come in. So I have, for example, I asked to a GM, so why do you have 10% non-refundable 3 days before the arrival date? And he says, because my competitors are doing that. Okay, let's look at your RMS, for example. Let's check the booking curve, what we will do from now. So this is the kind of information that they are not aware. And we are doing, sometimes we are doing trainings with all the tools to them to understand what information can they have from the tools. With Rate Shopper, with OTA Insight, for example, I can understand the demand to the destination. I must know that because of most of the hotels were closed in April and May, the demand was not 99%. That's because of they were closed, for example. And this is important to share with people in the hotels because they are not at the same level. And the same with the RMS and chatbot, etc. And this is important. It's not about tools or people. They must work all together. And as a consultant, it's very easy to understand that they do not know what information they can have from each tool. It's not all the time, but in most of the cases we have, it's like this. And they are really open to buy and to hire new tools since March, because they know they need help, but they don't understand what information can you give me from your tool that can help me to improve my business. Just wanted to add this information. Okay.
Okay, so shall we go to the next question?
Yes, please. Yes.
Francine.
We're gonna have so it's 38. It's so we have 13 questions. We need to finish this because we need to interact. Well, the public, if not, the public will kill me. Please.
Okay, that's for you, Francine. Should demand generation be limited to traditional KPIs such as ADR or occupancy, or are there ways to look at a new way of KPI, giving different priority?
I think this goes back to something we touched on earlier. You know, a hotel is really three things: it's time, it's space, and it's services. So, you know, ADR and occupancy are just about selling a room, but maybe there's other things that hotels can sell. And we touched on the examples of Citizen M and Hoxton. There was another one that caught my eye, which was a hotel or resort in the Maldives, that for $30,000 a year, you can get unlimited use of one of their bungalows, including unlimited airport transfer, so you can come and go as you please. They're willing to, you know, do that at a fixed cost and then make their money out of the services, the F&B, and things like that. So I think as a hotelier, look at other things that you can sell and you can measure. Car parking, you know, we're moving or kind of less keen to be on public transport. If you've got a car park, maybe you can sell spaces. If you're in a city, maybe you can sell charging spaces at a premium. Look at different ways that you can use your rooms, you know, as a private dining room for a family event, for example, so that you're not putting people into a hotel environment, or sorry, a restaurant environment. Think about what you can do with your services. If you've got housekeeping, if you've got maintenance services, maybe there's a way of sharing those with, you know, other hoteliers or Airbnb. So you're looking at everything that you've got within your business. How can you monetize that in different ways? So that's, you know, it's not just occupancy and ADR, it's what else have we got that we can sell.
Any other thoughts?
Okay.
I give you mine as I make the question. So I think there are two KPI very important we have to look at now. One is the customer acquisition cost, which was so far not so relevant, or for some reason was not in the top priority KPI list. And yeah, because hotels, generally speaking, okay, if you are structured, you have a revenue manager, or you have an outsourcing revenue manager, or you have an RMS, it's okay. But we know that many hotels are not using this kind of resource, and at the end of the day, they have this common approach of first come, first serve. So whoever is selling is fine, just important to fill the rooms, and that's it. And at the end of the day, the way you sell, the way you distribute, will affect the final profit. So if you, let's make an example, if you sell 100 rooms on booking.com at $100, I don't know how much is $100 per 100 rooms. It's 10,000 euro, $10,000, sorry. And the average cost is, I don't know, 20%. So that's going to be the final cost for selling those rooms to booking.com. So if you are able to sell the same amount of rooms for the same price, but having, you know, a differentiation, distribution mix, tending, you know, to adapt some lower cost distribution channel, at the end of the day, the result will be you have the same revenue with a less cost, okay? Or of course, in order to do so, you need intelligence, technology, data, and so on. So, but most importantly, I think customer acquisition cost is, of course, one of the most important KPI from now in the future. Also because hotels always complain about the fact that the intermediation cost is increasing, we want to sell more direct. But at the end of the day, the truth is that not many of the hotels are investing enough budget, enough digital budget, to gain direct booking. So I think this KPI is important. And another one is the customer long life value. Going back to my previous point of being more creative in a way you gain local customer by offering a bundle of services. So as we know that most probably in the next year, and before we get to the new, before we get to the 2019 stage, of course we have to work a little bit. It might be takes 1, 2, 3, 4 years to get there, and in order to do that, so if we are increasingly working with local, and how do we give them value? How do we gain more customer? How do we measure that aspect? So long life, customer value, I think also is a very important KPI to look at.
Okay, well, that leads us into our last question, and it's for Claudio. So your question is, how will the new normal look for the online distribution channel mix?
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, that actually touches base on touches a lot of things that we've discussed. I mean, obviously, we've been monitoring the online reservation flow through our channel manager. I'm pretty sure Site Manager has done the same thing. I know for a certain fact that DH has done the same thing. Now, what we like, just for the baseline, I mean, before the pandemic, on our install base, OTAs made up just a bit more than 80% of all the bookings. The booking engines were like 7 to 8%, wholesalers around 6 to 7%, and the rest was the GDS and tour operators. This is for the period from January till mid-March before the first lockdown comes. Now, different channel managers, different providers will have a different kind of mix depending on like how many large chains they have, how many independents they have. Now, to the end here first, it's like that actually did not change much since the lockdown. We've talked about before that direct bookings should be increased. What we see is they don't. They did a little bit. They went up 1%. The OTAs went up 1%. The only thing that has a bit of a significant shift is that the wholesalers, for reasons that we've already discussed, they were suffering in a sense that they see about half the share. That means obviously much less bookings. Tour operators and GDS, they remain at a very low level. Now, as I said, for tour operators, for OTAs, I don't think that's that surprising. What really surprised us, and what I want to bring across here, is that direct bookings did not really increase that much. Which, if we were thinking about that, I would say that local travels without crossing borders, without taking a flight, many of these things should increase the direct bookings because it is easier. People know where they're going. People know what kind of hotel they were booking or what kind of vacation they were booking. So it should have been increased, but it did not really in a significant level. The data that I just mentioned that the Edge published shows the same thing, that in the first couple of months of 2020, like first things first, they did see a steady increase of the direct booking channel, and which we see as well over the last couple of years. But comparing 2020 pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, it's roughly the same share of the reservations coming through the direct channels or coming through the OTAs. So what I take away from this is there's still a lot of things to be done in order to really drive these direct channels and increase them to a different kind of level than what it was in the pre-pandemic time. Also, because we mentioned that one before, this plays in the same direction, is that the marketing spending of the OTAs went significantly down, which should give hotels a chance to actually compete on the search engines with their own marketing in a similar way that OTAs probably would dominate before the pandemic. The other thing that this tells me is that OTAs are still the dominant source of, or the biggest source of the reservations coming in. For our install base, it's more than 80%. In other cases, it might be more than 60%, but that is still the vast majority of all the bookings coming through the OTA. So going forward, I think it's whatever we do right now, at least in the foreseeable future. I mean, you can't just ignore the OTAs. I mean, there will be still there. They will still drive a lot of your reservations. Keeping them, like, working with them proactively, not just paying happily the commission. I agree with what you just said, Enzo. But at the same time, if on average they make between 60 and 80% of your reservations, they are a force to reckon with, and they are something that you need to actively work with by making sure you're positioned correctly, making sure you're visible on these and bookable on the OTAs, not just for the next 2 months, but for the next 2 years. Making sure that you participate in those programs that make sense for your hotel, let that be Genius on Booking.com or an Expedia, the relevant programs, using the discounts in order to drive demand. All these are things that are, quote unquote, easy to do for a hotel. And I think it is an important step to take in order to use these very important channels, which are the OTAs, to use them in your favor, and use them strategically.
That's interesting, Claudia. Obviously, yes, you're right. We look at very similar data sets. The difference is we generally don't share that share ratio that we see. But one thing I'd say is, because throwing out like 80% OTA business is like, it's a really high number, and you have to take into consideration that we're only looking at what comes through a channel manager. And in a typical day-to-day business of a hotel, like, they've got group business, they've got stuff going direct to the property, either through voice or through channels that aren't connected to us, whether they have a direct CRS and so on. So I don't think it gives I mean, it's probably pretty close to what we've got, but it's not a relevant number in terms of what people are seeing as their OTA business. On the direct, I saw the same data there from the Edge, and we have seen increase in the share of direct, like not just through our own direct channel, but I think we got about 80 direct channels plugged into the ecosystem of SiteMinder, and it's pretty broad across. And there's the reason that, or some of the things that I'm kind of nailing it down to, is that local domestic tourism. And it really is a channel that, if you looked at your historical data that came through your direct channel, you will see it is a lot of domestic leisure business that has come through your direct channel. So whether it's not an increase in the number of reservations, it's because the other channels are actually currently doing less, which gives you like that increase in share. Exactly. But you're absolutely right. The OTAs, they did stop marketing through Google and Meta search, and quite rightly so, because there was no one there to market to at that time. You can see as markets come out of recovery or come out of one stage into the next, that you can see those taps being turned on by some of the larger OTAs in those various markets, if you keep a little eye on Google every now and then. But it's really been an interesting period to look at. I think what's going to be interesting is to see, vaccine news comes at a good time. I think businesses will be able to secure, hopefully, themselves financially. And I'm talking about not hotels here, but the distribution partners, the smaller OTAs, the smaller travel agents and wholesalers that have been supporting a smaller subset of properties, but lots of them, if you take all of those different distributors in different places, there will be more confidence from financial authorities to be able to back them that extra 3-6 months, so that they'll continue to be viable businesses in the second half of next year. And that for me is a little green light, because what we want to keep that choice for consumers on one side, and also for hotels, so that they can create that competitive marketplace between lots of distribution channels, so that it isn't just 2 or 3 people who are selling their rooms, but they have the opportunity to make that 12, 15, 18, 30 if they really want to.
Absolutely. Sorry, just to correct if I said that wrong. It's not. It's obviously not 80% of the bookings in the hotel. It's 80% of the online bookings flowing through the channel manager. Not like. Thanks for.
Oh, yeah, I know what you meant. I just want to make sure that we're giving a clear picture for everyone else.
That's right. I mean, so yeah, like sometimes, you know, we're so into our own technology that we can take that for granted. Thanks for pointing that out. That's absolutely.
Okay, let's move to the questions from the public. Jennifer and Enzo, you have access for those questions. I already answered a few of them, and I already set up a response for those is already only a comment. So we can start now because we are passing a lot of our time, but it's okay. Like this, we can answer all public. So Jennifer, go ahead.
Okay,
you can see on the right side the answers. For those that already answered, you don't need to go directly because we already commented during the session. Okay, thank you.
All right, got it. So our first question is from Alex Barros, and his question is, do you guys as providers see a move from hotels from having several solutions to move to all-in-one solutions to reduce costs and simplify the operations?
I'm happy to answer, well, at least comment on that. I think there's two schools of thought there from different hotels. Like I said earlier, we've actually seen hotels that are increasing the different providers they have plugged into their tech stack because they're not getting everything they need from an existing provider. And at the same time, yeah, there are hotels who maybe are reducing the size of their tech stack because they've had multiple providers and thought that, and literally to save costs through that period, they have a provider that they can do the rest of it. It's not giving me everything that every other provider was doing that I had plugged in, but it's going to see me through this period. I think you can look at those two, one as a short-term solution and one looking at much more the longer term in terms of the sustaining your business and growing your business when you come out the other side of the pandemic. It really does depend on that individual business and what they can finance at the time.
And I'd also add that integrations are important. So you may not have an all-in-one solution, but the integrations between the different solutions that you are using are really important because that makes it into there's communication between all of the different systems. It enables more automation and removes the work that you need to do to transfer information from one to the next. So you may not need the all-in-one if you have an integrated solutions.
Look, I think there's always going to be compromise. Whether you're compromising how much you're willing to spend on an overall technology solution versus compromising some of the functions or technology or that you might want to have in place. In life's about compromise, isn't it? And the only thing I would say is, look, as long as it's not a closed system, yes, you could have one platform which does a huge amount of what you think you're going to need, but as long as you have the flexibility to add stuff to it from other providers in the future so that it can grow with you again in the future, then it's not a bad solution to get you through that period if it's going to be more cost viable for you for the next 6, 9, 12 months.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget that but many of these all-in-one solutions are actually the result of previous M&A, meaning they used to be individual solutions. They're now put together under one bundle. I mean, that's to a large degree the same thing. And I mean, like we as one provider, I mean, we offer our channel manager as part of a PMS in a bundle of a all-in-one. Quite often, it's still a channel manager. I think about what James is saying is spot on. I mean, it needs to fit the need of the hotel. That's the most important. If an all-in-one solution fits exactly that need, and maybe there's a compromise on one or the other tool, that's fine. If you need the best in class of tool X and your all-in-one doesn't do that, you need to get X on the top notch of that market. So, and as long as that is given, there's nothing that speaks for or against one or the other.
Okay.
I take next. I'm not sure I'm following the right priority. Well, anyway, this is again from Alex. How are you, Alex? And I think it's more for Jennifer and Rudy. Since most hotels around Europe are now operating with a limited occupancy, sometimes 30–15% of maximum occupancy, so are the RMS platform allowing hoteliers to understand what pricing to practice, give the needs to make ends meet, or is that all being done automatically? Did you get the question?
Yep. So I'll start, and then Rudy, you can definitely add. I think that it depends on the solution. Generally, if a solution is considering future demand and doesn't prioritize the historical pricing, then you can definitely get, as we mentioned a couple times, you can find out who is coming to your destination. You can adjust your marketing accordingly, and you can help increase your occupancy through using an RMS that does provide that type of data. So it's really important that your RMS does consider competition pricing, future demand. All of those different things are important in order to figure out specific actions that you can take in order to increase your bookings and your revenue. Rudy?
Okay, so I would say I would use like a recommendation from the RMS to set up my prices, but it depends, because sometimes, as we mentioned before, forecast is changing on a daily basis due to the restrictions from the government and travels. So it's quite difficult to predict the right price, but also because my competitors, they may change from this month to 2 months from today due to people are looking for different kind of options because of the safety measures, etc. I would say that sometimes, because all of these changes, the rate shopper may be some kind of confused sometime, as it happened in April and May. I would say I would prefer like a recommendation from the RMS to choose my right rate for that day. I don't know.
Claudio, what about you? You're also providing an RMS, right?
Yeah, no, we also have an RMS, and I mean, what Jennifer and Rudy are saying is absolutely correct. I mean, there's I don't think that the right answer on this is spot on. I think that like forward-looking data is very important, and I think also one key for us is speed. Is once you see a demand happening, you need to be able to react right now. And I think like if you allow me this tiny short little bit of advertising, I mean that's where we try to excel by really connecting the distribution to the RMS part, because we don't do rate recommendations, we just implement it. So if there is a pickup that we see, we raise the prices, we put it in front of booking.com. If we see that you have a lot of demand, we're closing booking.com or other OTAs in order to drive the direct channel. So these are things we can do, and I think those are things that an RMS should be doing as well.
And absolutely, one last thing to mention as well, real-time data is important. So, if you get real-time data and you act quickly, like Claudio said, then you're going to have better results. So making sure you have an RMS that is using truly real-time data is important. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, which is from Tammy Brazzoli. And her question is, what are your thoughts on offering prepaid accommodation vouchers to be utilized at a later stage? Will this not cause an issue later, providing a service when money has already been spent?
Can I do it? You need to do it. For example, I'm going to give you an example. Concerning the economy in Argentina, it's a mess. However, the hotels are closed for the last 8 months. And they still keep it closed. So we have everything closed for hoteliers. They will come back in December. And we're seeing that, for example, hotels of 4 and 5 stars, They still don't open until March 2021. So 2021, sorry. So if you use vouchers, that can be a way to get revenue. But the important thing in the policies for that voucher, set it up, the time frame, the client can book that. So for example, you can sell your vouchers to upfront, for example. But for example, you can put you don't put it on July if you're leisure and you place it on Barcelona, for example, because you know that July, August is it's a high season. So for example, you can use vouchers to get a lot of bookings for periods with not too much demand, for example. I think it's a good way to catch up the future and to get some money right now because you need it. At the end, you need it. If you can spend it in the future, it doesn't matter. In the future, we really don't know what's going to happen in the future. And if you need to survive right now, do that. Do that and put flexible policies. That's only my opinion. Thank you, guys.
I like running being a CEO of a small company as well, which puts me in the same shoes in this regard as many hoteliers, at least independent ones. You know, at some point in time, cash is just king. Having cash to survive a business is really important because I mean there's not much that helps you to not survive a certain period. So yes, if a voucher like this has the good red tape around it and the good conditions, that is absolutely a great opportunity to get in some cash right now, survive your business, maybe do these investments in technology in the future that we talked about before, in order and use for exactly that in order to grow in the future.
If the hotels need a platform to do that, we have HS Latin, my company, we have 5 different companies on our group. We are Latin Hospitality Group. In Latin Hospitality Group, we have 5 different companies. On those 5 different companies, we have one that's called BuyZ.store. You can access. There we have solutions to sell your vouchers, and also we have solutions to don't have contactless. If the hoteliers needs to have the guest needs to request, I don't know, a drink, everything they can do through the platform, and also they can do upselling for what we have near to the hotel. Just a little spoiler, I will profit. Thank you. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question then. All right. Sorry. All right. This question's from Marcin Demansky, and he asks, what new segments, if any, have developed during the pandemics? Are there any new behavioral patterns within segmentation besides the usual old ones like group, transient, promo, rack, etc.?
It's an interesting question, and I can't speak with much clarity on that, but I would say yes. Obviously, you got group, transient, leisure, business. I don't think there's any new segmentation, but certainly they have adjusted regionally. So, you know, the length of stay of the typical leisure guest, for example, or a domestic leisure guest is very different. The lead time of reservations for domestic leisure is different, and obviously for international business it has completely changed. So everything is flexing, but you know, they still pretty much sit within those verticals, I would say.
Excellent. Anybody else?
Thanks, Martin. I think what we definitely see is what we see, maybe it's a good word, is a finer segmentation going into what is called what might call the micro segment. I think Rudy already touched on that before. You know, to segment within the current customers that you have much more clear and say like, oh, with this particular segment I can do something, which in my opinion maybe fall outside completely of the traditional kind of segmentation that also is just driven by what do I have in my CRM, what kind of email addresses do I have, and how can I address exactly that kind of group, is probably equally important as are they segment, or do they used to be segment called transient or anything else. Would be interested in how Rudy sees that from a consulting point.
I got
Okay,
next.
yeah, and just let me add,
Yeah.
like sub-segmentation as, for example, promotions, last-minute offers, like geographical meta search actions. This is literally sub-segmentation. But we need to go deep to find new customers, and this is what we were trying to say a few minutes ago. We really need to shape things again, and try to find where we have customers, but we need to go deeper in our strategy.
Thank you, guys. Just one thing. It's not on the topics, but hoteliers need to be aware about the super apps. If you don't know what super app is, please go and search. They're growing a lot in Asia. They start growing in America, in entire America. In Europe, it's a rich sense to go forward, but they will be for the Junes, for the young people, So keep an eye on super apps. That will be a new key for the distribution starting 2021. This will change a lot of things. So keep an eye on that. Maybe we don't have too much time. We don't open the discussion, because if I open it, we're gonna have like 1 hour more. So I don't will do that today. We're gonna do that in Travel Tech Talks. Jennifer, we can move ahead with the last questions that we have, and then we'll finish the session. Thank you a lot.
Okay, perfect.
I take this,
So-
or you take this
Yeah,
one?
go ahead, Enzo. No, go ahead, Enzo.
Okay, I'm not sure if you already shared that one. What are your thoughts on offering prepaid accommodation vouchers to be utilized?
We just answered it.
We're on Erica's question now.
Guys, I got lost, so sorry. Go.
Happens. The live show.
You go to the next, Jennifer. So I think I see
Okay.
one for James. I see here.
Erika Buxi.
Yes, the next is from Erica Busi. She says, "Hi, this is Erica from the UK. With the importance of technology, why is adoption still such a big issue for hotels?"
I didn't understand the question. Sorry. If somebody can answer, James.
Yeah, I can repeat it. With the
Proceed, go
importance
ahead.
of technology, why is adoption still such a big issue for hotels?
So, I mean, adoption of technology, I mean, a big issue could be interpreted a couple of ways. One, in that, there's a lot of hotels that still haven't adopted a lot of technology or any technology. Talking to our teams, and I can talk specifically about the UK, seeing as I'm based here in the UK, we still talk to hotels with a reasonable number of rooms. So, we service hotels from anywhere from 2 to 22,000, 5,000 rooms in a hotel. But if you look in that lower segment where you have those small independent hotels, people are still writing things down in a book. Very much, or managing extranets if they're using distribution, managing on phone or on an extranet, or even just have a "hey, contact me" form on your website. The problem is in the UK or in many regions that technology has moved a lot faster than hotels or hotels in that small independent segment can actually keep up with, and that's really why they do need a technology company in place, or to be able to help them through that. So you just take the website, for example, where 10-12 years ago it wasn't really seen as that weird to have when you go on Book Now and there's just a form where you fill in your name and your phone number and say, "Hey, I really fancy a room next Saturday night, what have you got?" And then there's an email exchange. Whereas now, if that form falls under GDPR issues as well, because if that's not in a HTTPS page, and hoteliers aren't born to understand all of this stuff, right? In terms of what they're doing with guest data and so on, they do need technology companies to protect themselves a lot from much of that, and they will start to see the benefits of it. So there's that side of adoption where in certain segments of the hotel business, the adoption of technology is reasonably low still. Not so much in my space or Claudia's space from a channel management perspective, but if you look at revenue management, then yeah, it's extremely low, because revenue management requires data, and you do not get data. Like we're really good as technology companies, but understanding people's availability from a paper book and translating that into a revenue management platform is still beyond us. So you know, it does need to be in a system with a database where data can be shared with other platforms, and it's not until hotels get to that point where they can actually share their data with other platforms to really benefit from it that they start to see the significant increase. I'm quite lucky in the sense I see a lot of emails from like one of the review platforms that come through, and occasionally I read all of these reviews that come through on a Sunday night, just sitting there, and it's a feel-good factor for Monday morning. You really look forward to going in when you read these, right? And people, and it still surprised me, because I was doing this on Sunday night, when you're reading them, and people say, oh yeah, because before this we didn't have anything, and then now we've got this technology and everything is like, we can't believe how easy it is. And you know, for me, being further away from just talking to hotels every day is quite surprising. Now there's the other side of the adoption, which why is adoption so hard, which is the actual implementation piece. It's like, hey, I've chosen this piece of technology. Why is it so damn hard to get it integrated into my tech stack and integrated into all of these other channels? And that's something else entirely, because when you look at other industries, and we look at retail, we look at other things like Shopify, for example, where you can literally sign up and then go, I'll plug into that, I'll plug into that, I'll plug into that. And it's true, as an industry, you know, adoption of APIs between technology companies needs to be better, and the creation of those APIs and the sharing of data needs to go faster, so that we can do more with our platforms to benefit the hotels.
Thank you, James. Thank you a lot. Guys, what's the last question? That one. So we're finished. We're finished. I would like to say thank you to all of you, to thank you for all the attendance. Tomorrow we have still an entire week ahead. We're going to have 3 sessions more. Tomorrow we're going to have digital marketing, new ways and changes on guest booking journey. Don't lose it. We're going to have moderators myself, Alejandro Gomez, and Rita Justina Varga, co-founder of Hotel Robust. Our speakers tomorrow will be Rodrigo Teixeira from Not Suite, Nicolo Segui from Simple Booking, Alberto Recanatesi, Book Assist, Theodoros Katsimbras, Book My Now, and Pavlina Zikova, co-founder and CEO of My Stay. So don't lose your seat tomorrow. Please register, come and watch all the knowledge that we need to share with you guys. So thank you everybody for coming here, to stay here, to share all the knowledge that we have shared during this session. And I will give you all the chance to say goodbye for everybody. So we can start from Rudy, then Francine, Claudio, Enzo, Jennifer, and James. So please, you have 1 minute to say goodbye for everybody. And really thank you guys to come over here. And I expect for the next year, we have all of you together with us again. And also remember, next year we will do the first global online fair for a hotel. So we're going to have the possibility to get one-to-one. All hoteliers all over the world in different regions will have the chance to have half an hour with different companies, and they will share and show you what they have, what they do. So we'll have the forum, and we'll have then 6 hours, and all the companies, you can get in touch with them. So 2021 is going to be an outstanding year. Doesn't matter if you have the vaccine or not, we'll still focus on get this trade and all the technology companies grow together. That's the main point of Travel Tech, and sharing knowledge. Thank you very much for everybody to come and stay with us. Rudy Azevedo, please, you have your minute.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Hope we can help you with our insights. If you want to be in touch with me, please contact me through LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to can help you with training in revenue management or consultancy services in revenue management. We are helping independent hotels to improve their business, mainly independent hotels. And again, hope we can help you with our informations, and the rest of a good day for all of you.
Thank you a lot, Rudy. Remember, to all the attendants, if you need to contact any person on this panel, just go to traveltech.space. You're gonna see on the bottom, you're gonna see all the panels. You have all the website for each company and the LinkedIn of each person that is here with us. So Francine Haywood, thank you very much for your presence. I'm very glad to have you here in Travel Tech. It's your first time, and I hope it's the first of a lot of them. Welcome.
I'm sure.
You have your minute.
Thanks, Vinny. Thanks for inviting me, and thanks everyone who took part and my fellow panelists. If we can help you at OTA Insight understand more about what demand is looking like, that intent to travel, I'd be delighted to show you some of our new tools and how they'll make a difference to your business. So do get in touch. I'd love to help.
Thank you, Francine. Welcome. Claudio Dimancher, a good friend, CEO of Real Planet.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Vinicius, for putting this all together and organizing this. Thanks, Enzo and Jennifer, for all the questions. Really appreciate the moderation. Yeah, I think that the best thing is to just say, like, get in touch if you need any other question, even if it's just about, like, in the space. Please give me some time on LinkedIn. I'm not very fast in replying to all this, to all the questions. They're normally a couple of connection requests. If you write a sentence on it, that actually helps me a ton to know who you are and what would you like. Yeah, thanks a lot for the attention. I know that was quite long in the sum for the audience. Thanks a lot for all the rest of the people on the panel. Great to be here.
Thank you a lot, Claudio. Now, Enzo, a friend of mine, Funnel TV. Don't forget, 1st December, the biggest event to show you all the tools for the best companies all over the world. Enzo, your turn, man.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. And if you want to get in touch with me, you know how to do it. LinkedIn is the fastest way. If you want to learn more about Hyperguest and the way we can help you to enlarge and empower your distribution with a sustainable intermediation approach, I'll be more than happy to schedule a call. Or anyway, if you want to just get in touch with me and listen to some good music, I'm here, guys. Whatever you like. I prefer jazz, funky, rock, and anytime, you know, I'm here. Just get in touch.
We can go today. Let's go to the Nexus. Jennifer Negi from Libra. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here on behalf of Libra and also my own company, JLNPR. So I also want to offer the opportunity for anyone out there who has any questions about revenue management or about marketing in general to reach out to either myself or Libra directly via their LinkedIn company page. And we'd be happy to help you. We're, you know, here to make sure that you can be as profitable as possible. And we want to do everything to help all of you survive this difficult time. So thank you again for listening and for attending.
Thank you a lot,
to all the fellow panel members.
You're always welcome. My friend here, James Bishop, SignMinder, Senior Global Director. It's your turn.
Thanks, Vinny. Thanks, Vinny, and obviously everyone else on the panel. And Enzo and Jennifer for moderating for us. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak with these guys. And as everyone else said, look, if you need to contact me directly, then by all means, please do on LinkedIn. Special thank you to Alex Barros for all your questions. Can always rely on you. And I really look forward to seeing you all again on a future event sometime.
Awesome, great. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for the sponsors. Thank you, Ideas, Libra Tech, HS Latin, Ask Suites, Tech Express, Book Online Now, Evermax. So thank you a lot for the media partners, Funnel TV, Revenue Hub, and Travel Daily Media. Tomorrow we have more. We have an entire week. Get tuned. Follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget that. We have a lot of news coming. So thank you, guys. Love it. We really love it. Thank you. Thank you again.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.